Comparison is one of the most silent yet destructive habits of the human mind, and it often begins without us even realizing it. From a young age, we are taught, directly or indirectly, to measure our worth against others, grades, careers, income, appearance, relationships, and social status. Over time, this constant measuring becomes automatic. You scroll through social media, hear about someone else's success, or notice another person's progress, and suddenly your own achievements feel smaller, slower, or insignificant. This habit slowly chips away at confidence because it shifts your focus from your inner growth to an external scoreboard that was never designed for you. Inspired by the teachings of Dr. Joseph Murphy, it becomes clear that comparison places the mind in a state of lack rather than abundance. When you compare yourself, you are telling your subconscious mind that what you have is not enough, that where you are is somehow wrong, and that your timeline is inferior to someone else's. This internal message weakens self-belief and creates unnecessary emotional pressure. Confidence cannot thrive in an environment where self-judgment is constant. Every person is born with a unique set of abilities, experiences, challenges, and opportunities, yet comparison ignores this truth completely. It assumes that everyone should reach the same milestones at the same time, which is not only unrealistic but deeply harmful. Dr. Joseph Murphy emphasized that the subconscious mind responds to what you consistently think and feel. When your thoughts are filled with comparison, your mind absorbs doubt, fear, and self-criticism as facts. Over time, this affects your decisions, your motivation, and even your willingness to try. You may begin to hold back, not because you lack potential, but because comparison convinces you that you are already behind. This is how confidence quietly fades, not through failure, but through constant mental comparison. True confidence is not built by outperforming others. It is built by trusting your own process and recognizing your progress, no matter how small it may seem. When you shift your focus inward, you reconnect with your personal values, strengths, and purpose. Instead of asking, "How do I compare to them?" you begin to ask, "Am I growing compared to who I was yesterday?" This subtle change transforms your mindset. According to principles often associated with Dr. Joseph Murphy, when you affirm your own worth and progress, your subconscious mind begins to support you rather than sabotage you. You start noticing opportunities instead of obstacles, motivation instead of discouragement, and self-respect instead of self-doubt. Letting go of comparison does not mean ignoring the world or other people's success. It means refusing to measure your value through someone else's achievements. Confidence grows when you understand that your journey is not late, wrong, or incomplete. It is simply yours. Breaking free from the habit of comparison requires conscious awareness and a deliberate shift in how you train your mind to see yourself and your life. The first step is recognizing that comparison is not a fact-based evaluation, but a mental pattern shaped by repetition. You are not comparing reality to reality. You are comparing your behind-the-scenes struggles to someone else's carefully presented highlights. This distorted comparison creates an illusion that others are ahead while you are falling short, even when that assumption is not true. Inspired by the mindset teachings associated with Dr. Joseph Murphy, it becomes clear that what you repeatedly accept as truth eventually becomes your inner reality. When the mind is conditioned to focus on lack, it begins to search for evidence to support that belief. This is why comparison feels so convincing and emotionally powerful. To stop this cycle, you must consciously redirect your attention inward and take ownership of your mental environment. Confidence grows when your thoughts are aligned with self-respect rather than self-criticism. Instead of scanning the world for proof that you are behind, you begin to notice proof of your resilience, learning, and growth. This shift does not happen overnight, but it becomes stronger with consistent practice. One practical method is to replace comparison-based thoughts with self-reference measurements. Ask yourself whether you are wiser, more aware, or more disciplined than you were in the past. These internal benchmarks are far more accurate and empowering than external comparisons. Dr. Joseph Murphy often spoke about the power of affirmation and repetition, emphasizing that the subconscious mind responds to what it hears most often. When you affirm your progress and potential, you gradually weaken the influence of comparison. Another important step is learning to appreciate other people's success without attaching it to your self-worth. Someone else's achievement does not subtract from your possibilities. In fact, it can serve as proof of what is possible rather than evidence of your inadequacy. When you detach your identity from comparison, you free yourself from emotional highs and lows that depend on external circumstances. This emotional stability is a key foundation of genuine confidence. Over time, as you practice focusing on your own journey, your confidence becomes calmer and more grounded. You stop rushing your growth and stop judging your pace. According to principles inspired by Dr. Joseph Murphy, the mind works best when it is relaxed, confident, and focused, not anxious or pressured. By releasing comparison, you allow your subconscious mind to work in harmony with your goals instead of against them. You become more consistent, more patient, and more self-trusting. Confidence then becomes a natural expression of self-acceptance rather than a fragile response to external approval. When you truly understand that your journey is unfolding exactly as it needs to, comparison loses its power. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. Instead, you move forward with quiet certainty, knowing that your progress is real, meaningful, and uniquely your own. As confidence begins to rebuild from within, the need to seek validation through comparison naturally starts to fade. This stage is where real transformation takes place, because confidence is no longer dependent on how others perceive you or how quickly they seem to be advancing. Instead, it is rooted in self-trust and inner alignment. When you consistently focus on your own growth, your mind shifts from competition to cooperation with life itself. Inspired by the teachings of Dr. Joseph Murphy, this inner alignment allows the subconscious mind to operate in a state of harmony rather than resistance. The mind performs best when it feels safe, supported, and valued, and comparison disrupts all three of these conditions. By letting go of comparison, you give yourself permission to grow at a pace that feels natural and sustainable. This permission removes internal pressure, which is often the hidden cause of burnout, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. As pressure decreases, clarity increases. You begin to see your strengths more clearly, not because they suddenly appeared, but because comparison was no longer clouding your perception. Confidence, in this sense, is not loud or performative. It is calm, steady, and deeply rooted. Dr. Joseph Murphy often emphasized that the subconscious mind accepts what you consistently believe about yourself. When you believe that your path is valid, your mind supports that belief by guiding your actions, habits, and decisions in a constructive direction. You start making choices that align with your values rather than chasing approval or recognition. This alignment strengthens confidence because it creates internal consistency between who you are and how you live. Over time, this consistency builds self-respect, which is far more powerful than temporary motivation. Another key aspect of releasing comparison is learning to redefine success in personal terms. Society often promotes a narrow definition of success based on status, wealth, or visibility, but these measures rarely reflect inner fulfillment. When you define success according to your own principles, such as peace of mind, personal growth, meaningful work, or emotional balance, you free yourself from constant judgment. Inspired by Dr. Joseph Murphy's teachings, this personalized definition of success programs the subconscious mind to seek fulfillment rather than approval. As a result, confidence becomes less reactive and more intentional. You stop feeling threatened by others' achievements because they no longer challenge your sense of self-worth. Instead, you recognize that every person's journey unfolds according to different lessons and timing. This understanding brings emotional maturity and patience. Confidence then becomes an expression of self-awareness rather than comparison. You trust yourself to adapt, learn, and grow through every phase of life. When setbacks occur, they no longer feel like proof of failure, but like opportunities for refinement. This mindset creates resilience, which is one of the strongest forms of confidence. Ultimately, releasing comparison allows you to experience a deeper connection with yourself. You move forward with clarity, purpose, and inner stability, knowing that your worth is not something to be measured against others, but something that already exists within you.